Hello, everyone. You are listening to the To Hull and Back podcast, proudly sponsored by Old Zoological Bar and Kingfisher Fish and Chips in Hull. I'm your host, Nathaniel, and tonight I'm joined by Joe and Christian to discuss typical City, perhaps one of the most typical City results, but perhaps not performances, but perhaps also in a way performances. A 2-1 defeat at home to Stoke. I'm very, very upset, as everyone who's spoken to me in the last day and a half will know. Probably most upset I've been in a very long time supporting City. But Christian, Joe, how are you tonight?
I'd like to start just by saying, well done, Nathaniel. You did the intro with your headphones on without saying Sproudly Ponsard.
Well, I was going to say brought to you by, because I thought maybe I can avoid any issues there, and then I forgot. So that was a bit of a scary moment. So thank you. That's cheered me up already. Christian, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks, bud. I think it'll come a bit more apparent throughout the evening on my feelings of late, let's say, with regarding yesterday's result. I think we're all in a similar, but let's put it that way. But I think we've all got very different opinions as well. I think we've all kind of said a lot of different stuff over the last 24 hours, and I think it's time for us. God's sake, here we go. Shep, don't wind him up.
Well, speaking of already feeling better, to be honest, this season, especially with TW in charge beforehand, I've pretty much dreaded these podcasts because I don't like being miserable, as in I don't like feeling miserable. I probably come across as miserable a lot and have done this season. But yes, Longman, I didn't even mention him. Shep's commented he got a 95th minute winning assist for Wrexham, so at least I could enjoy that. But in a City perspective,
if we're in Wrexham or in the same league next year,
let's
Ryan Longman makes an impact in the game, will the episode be called Ryan Reunited or Reunited with Ryan or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
You use your veto power, Nathaniel, which everyone knows you have.
I am the host.
Title.
I am super ultra supreme host or whatever my mug downstairs says. I might have to go get that in a bit. So yeah, yes, Josh BT here. Nathaniel's posts on Twitter, not X, yesterday were miserable, and I'm sorry. I'd like to say here, if anyone's seen my tweets, most of which I've deleted. Most of my tweets I have deleted after every time we've lost a game recently. I am very, very passionate at the match, very, very passionate on social media afterwards. But then by Sunday, maybe in this case, after we've made a few signings on the Tuesday morning, I'm already back to saying it's going to be an easy win in the next match. But this week, I don't know, just the typical City of it. And like every time we lose to Leeds, Ant is, of course, very upset about that because he has a lot of Leeds mates. Some of my family are from Stoke. I have my uncle's a Stoke fan. He was messaging me before the game. So this is sort of family derby for me. So to lose pretty much in the same damaging way we did against Stoke last season as well, which was so fresh in the memory, being less than a year ago, I'm not sure I can pretend I'm joyful.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
I'd just like to say that last week we were on for the playoffs, and this week we're this week we're doomed for relegation. Just to put a bit of perspective on those people, for those people saying that, if we reverse those results, guess what? We've got the same amount of points. We're in the same place in the table. Only difference is we're beating Stoke 3-0 and losing 2-1 to Sheffield United. Losing 2-1 to Sheffield United at Bramall Lane, where not many teams score, would have been deemed a solid result, probably. And then we come home, beat Stoke 3-0, everyone's buzzing. It's just like reactions are what's taking hold here. There's not a lot of rational thinking. And should we have done better yesterday. Yes, we were 1-0 up in 7 minutes. From that point in the game, with the control we had for a lot of that first half, should we have won the game? Yes. It was a poor bit of defending for their goal, their first one. Matty's instinct should have been just clear it whether you thought it was going out off you or whoever or not. And I don't think Matty Jacob was anywhere near as bad yesterday as some people are saying. He wasn't embarrassing or the worst left back the world has ever seen. Is Matty Jacob a long-term solution if we want to push up the table, get in the Premier League as a first choice left back? No. But is he more capable of playing the understudy, coming in when we've not got anyone else that we haven't at the moment? Yeah, Matty's perfectly capable at that. And he wasn't anywhere near as bad for me as a lot of people are saying yesterday. But he should have cleared that ball. Then the corner, we don't deal with that properly. Drama gets a little bit unlucky with the bounce, but equally, I think that it's 50-50. Unlucky with the bounce. Should have been doing a little bit better with that. And Al-Hamadi, great finish. Second half, we were terrible. We had the first 10 and the last 10 plus stoppage time, but all the rest of it in the middle, we were sat deep inside our own half. And I think Ruben got the changes massively wrong. Zhao shouldn't have been brought off when he was. And if he was going to bring Kyle Joseph on at that point, he should have brought him on alongside Zhao. I don't think he should have brought Kamara off. But Abu Kamara was having a fantastic game. Again,
it's the only time we can say that all season. And I was very surprised that he would have put Gelhardt on the right-hand side because you think he'd be better on cutting on the left. So I agree there.
Louis Barry didn't do an awful lot, but it's his debut. He's still settling in, so we can't read into it too much. Could we have had a penalty in the second half? Yes.
I would say no. All very soft.
I think the Gelhardt one was a penalty. The Louis Barry one, absolutely not. It was both of them were right in front of me. Gelhardt was, Barry wasn't. But we just need to stop being, as a fan base, we just need to stop being so reactionary overall, because I said it at the start of this monologue I've done, which has gone on for a few minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up. This time last week, we were getting playoffs. Second half of the season, we're doing a title charge. And this week, it's all right, we're going down because we lost to Stoke. Do too many average teams come to the MKM and get a result? Yes, they have for the last 18 months. And I've got some stats to rattle off, actually, which I've just remembered. Here we go. So
they're not going to be good, are they? Whatever they are.
Hull City have failed to win less than 4 games at home in a 20-plus home league game season in their history. Need to win 3 of their remaining home games to avoid becoming the worst home Hull City team in history. We had 4 wins in 95-96 and 35-36. 3 wins from 19 in the Premier League in 08-09. Norwich, Plymouth, Oxford, Luton, Coventry, Preston, and Derby at home. If we don't win 3 of those games, this team goes down as the joint worst team at home in history. I think
you've got to think, because
that's worded slightly wrong.
We've got 3 of the bottom. There's the bottom 3 we have to play at home as well. So you've really got to think we've got to win those games.
I've worded that slightly wrong. The worst home team at the MKM, I think. I think this is lowest wins at the MKM, excluding Premier League, is 7. 2010, 2011. Lose 2 more times, and it'll be the 10th time in our history we've lost 10 plus games in a league season at home. Lose 2 more times, and it'll be the 5th time we've lost 10 plus games in a league season at home since we moved to the MKM, beating the 4 times we lost 10 games plus at Boothby Park, but in half the time. Once at Anlaby Road, 35-36. The record for defeats is 13, 2019-20. So we are halfway to equaling the same number of losses at Boothby Park, but we've only played just over a third of the matches at the MKM compared to BP. We've lost more games at the MKM than the original Anlaby Road ground by 53, 128 compared to 181 in 87 games less than at the MKM.
Well, there's an awful lot to unpack there. Of course, the overall thing is we are very bad at home. And I think this was a long rant, so we're going to go through point by point. But I think that's why, firstly, again, I'm going to admit to it. I am, of course, extremely reactionary. Basically, anything I say on a Saturday, after a match, completely ignore it. I'm going to completely admit to that. The truth is between we are finishing rock bottom and we're pushing to the top half of getting a playoff push. I think the reason why I'm so frustrated, it's not because of the amount of points we have, which is the whole sort of if we'd won up against Stoke and lost to Sheffield United, but we can play that well. I know we can play that well against Sheffield United. We go 1-0 up, even more, good that we go the one goal up, and you think you've got to, with the game state, control the game, push on and get the winner. And how many games have we actually lost in the last 18 months at home where the other team has actually played genuinely well? It's very few. What tends to happen is we put all this effort in, 50 to 60% possession, more XG, more shots, more corners, etc. And the other team, extremely passive because they know they can punt it into our box. One of the fullbacks doesn't get to the ball and they score 1 or 2. And it's extremely, extremely easy, no matter whether we play well or not. And if it's a good trait to play poorly and win, it's a terrible trait to play well and lose as many games as we have done. Christian, what do you think maybe not what the answer is, because if you knew the answer, you'd be the whole City manager. But
of course,
what's the problem at home? Is it the way we play? Is it the atmosphere? Because I didn't think it was that bad.
I think it's how we set up at home to how we set up when we go away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that's going to lead us on to like my point. I think I've said over in the last 24 hours in our chat, where if you look at the lineup against Sheffield United versus the lineup at home against Stoke, it was a lot more of an attacking forward threat, with Carl Joseph being up there, where if there was any problems, we could play the ball into that channel. Carl Joseph would have run onto it and we played the ball up the pitch, which in turn made Sheffield United go on the back foot and allowed us to counter a lot more, which was positive for Hull. And then when we did the changes, like bring on Pedro and things like that and take Matt Crooks off, we went into that shape of we're not just holding on to the lead that we've got, but we're now designed for that counter-attacking football, even more so because the opposition are a bit more tired. They've been chasing on, and we've added a completely different dynamic to the game with those substitutions because of, say, for instance, like say Pedro plays deeper than like Carl would. So when you look at how we started on Saturday, and a lot of people might say, I don't know what I'm talking about here, but I do honestly believe we were set up more to be more concrete at home instead of more of the attacking threat. Yeah, all right, we went 1-0 up in the first half, but that 1-0 was just a standard, genuine cross in front of the goal situation, headed back across, and there was players to mop it up. It didn't really come from the attacking threat of we've played through ball up, we've ran onto it, and none of that happened in the first half. Though we played really well and we did have a lot of opportunities, and there should have been a lot more shots taken at certain points from individuals at certain points in the first half. But if you're already set up in that kind of let's be more solid at home, when you come to make those substitutions, the dynamic has completely changed and gone. You can't switch it from. I mean, it was already 1-1. at half time anyway. So that first goal was already nulled with how we played because it was 1-1 at half time. Stoke came in the more positive, and like that when he didn't really chase defenders down. Well, to be honest, he couldn't because there was no balls played into the channel when he came
The
on.
best ball over the top yesterday, it wasn't when Joseph was on. It was when Pedro got in behind and passed it back to Matazo.
Yeah, but that happened once.
Mm.
And that's one of the things where you're setting up to be more solidified in that situation and progressive, like Ant says, going progressive. But I just disagree on at home, kind of picking a side to be on the back foot and making sure it's played more controlling than instead of how we go away and we go with that attacking sense of, right, we're playing away, let's just go for it. Why with the same mentality at home?
But then against Sheffield United, we played with the Burns and Crooks and McLaughlin and Jones, the big people to defend the corners, whereas we didn't play McLaughlin at left back. We played the more attacking Jacobs. So
yeah,
I'm not fully sure whether I agree with that, but I think regardless, I do agree that Sayers didn't get. Yeah, maybe he got the injury, hadn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I understand why the backline was. I don't understand the midfield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna get shot in the head if I ever say anything bad about Alzate. But he did have a lot of the ball. He did a lot of good things. He saw a lot, but there was a lot of situations where when he got the ball, he kind of had to hang on to it a lot longer than he needed to, because he just didn't know the attacking option around him because there wasn't much there. Though he did a lot of the stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, that there was certain spells which were just magic, but it doesn't equal the same amount that we need. That one bit of magic, it's always one bit of magic. It's not constant, so you need something more constant to keep going forward with the people around. And I just feel like this. I do truly feel Sellis went a bit too safe. I understand Louis Barry was new and he doesn't know the full thing, but he's an attacking threat. Start with someone like that so you can grow into the game a bit more, not come on when the dynamic of the pitch and the game is already there and ask him to try and change it. Because when you've had your time to stamp your authority, any changes after that, if he came off, they're going to be the ones put out, not the other way around if you're the attacking team. And like I said, we took Carl off. Carl Joseph wasn't even starting. There's your channel gone already. So you your long ball situation to get away from the troubles gone. Kamara, a lot of you just said earlier as well, Kamara, great game. Great game. I think out of the 22 crosses that came his way that he had to go up for a header for, I think he won 2. And the ball kept on bouncing past him, or he couldn't have controlled it as much. Though he did have his opposition in his back pocket when it was a one-on-one situation. And we're all saying when Gelhardt came on and came over to that side. But don't forget, when Gelhardt came over, when Louis Barry came on and Kamara came off, they also changed their fullback at that time. And it was also one of those situations that changed their dynamic in defence, because we were expecting to play the same way against someone like that.
Chamamadu came on, didn't he?
Yeah,
Junior something or other.
Yeah, Junior Chamacha. And yeah, Kamara did create those chances. Does create chances. Well, not in every game. That's a lie, Harry. But he did create chances in the game. And I'm not going to slate for that because it was one of the better performances. Actually, attacking players, taking them on one-on-ones, linking up.
Chamadou,
good effort. I can't say it. But the reason why he got subbed off was because of their substitution. And then Gelhardt came across, and Gelhardt didn't have the best second half. And someone put in chat, I don't think why is Gelhardt on the right hand side? Well, to be honest, his favourite side is the right hand side, or sitting behind the striker. When I saw him on the left, yeah, all right, he can do the left.
Needs
must. Yeah, we don't want another player that's going over to that side when now we've got Louis Barry there.
This is the thing, like shoehorning players into positions still. Like I know you said in the group chat earlier on about trying Slater at right back again, Nathaniel. Like cool. Last year we did it and it worked, but that Regan Slater, the form Regan Slater was in last year, isn't there anymore.
No.
Isn't there now. So it's a risk putting him in a position where he's weaker. Also, it's when people were saying about Burstow on the wing as well. Like, for the last 18 months, 2 years, we've whinged about having to play players out of position. So when we've got players,
especially on the wing, because they've all been injured, haven't they?
Yeah. Why shouldn't we play those players in their correct position? Like, Gelhardt says he prefers to be on the right. All right, well,
and he's a striker. He's always been a striker or a sort of behind.
He's like a false.
False
he sits behind.
nine-ish.
False nine-ish.
Well, like
10-ish.
To an extent, we've seen it with Abdush, haven't we? Under Tim Walter, he never got put centrally. I mean, we didn't have the wingers for most of Tim Walter's time here. Let's be honest.
If you're playing central in a Tim Walter system, you're not playing at all.
Yep, true. But yeah, like we've got players to play in these positions now. We need to not shoehorn players in just for the sake of it. The only place where you can get away with it now for me is left back, because we've only got Matty. Like Brandon Fleming is as out of the picture as you can get, I think. And I think he'll be gone tomorrow out on loan, if not permanently. But yeah, it's an awkward one tonight, isn't it? Because we've played well, but we're walking away thinking, oh, Jesus Christ, that's another missed opportunity. Other teams around us got decent results. Plymouth won. Did Luton get a draw at Hillsborough in the end?
I think Plymouth were the only team that won. And I think because of the FA Cup, I think the only team playing next week before the midweek after that is Derby go to Norwich, and you'd hope Norwich completely destroy Derby because Norwich are pretty good at home. But everyone else didn't win, so we still have the 2 points above the bottom three, but it should have been at least 3, because I think you'd taken a point to get 3 points, but couldn't even do that.
We deserved to win on Saturday. We did deserve to win. But there's something about playing at home that we just can't seem to.
It's got to be psychological at this point.
I think a lot of it will be by this stage, because
especially when you go 1-0 up, because you think that they'd get the confidence, and they did a little bit, but as soon as they don't get the second goal, continue to create chances in the first half and a few shots at the start of the second half, then you do get a bit negative and sit back, and then Stoke, like QPR before them, and every other club we played at home,
apart from Leeds
and Swansea, of course Cardiff early on in the season, it felt like we can get something here, like Stoke did last time. And I just feel like with all those draws under Rossignol as well, maybe. I was thinking at a certain point yesterday, some of the football we were playing, I'd much prefer to see it than Rossignol ball, and maybe the amount of the conservatism under Rossignol sort of caused that we don't really try and win home matches. A lot of them we have drawn over the last 2 years, so perhaps that's part of it. But Sayers needs to motivate them, and if we just get a good run at home, which would be quite difficult considering we have by far the worst home record. If we can turn that around, we will stay up comfortably. But it's those 6 pointers where not only do you get a point, but you beat the teams around you. And we can't rely on playing Sheffield United every week.
The fixtures here, right? We've got Burnley, Norwich, Sunderland all in a row. That's
tough. Yeah,
that's very tough. And the outlook could look pretty different after those 3 games. Hopefully not. I think Burnley going away is the most winnable of the 3, because it's similar to Sheffield United.
I think they've drawn 0-0 like 7 or 8 times this season, so they're not a huge goal threat.
Yeah, not many teams score against them, but they don't score many themselves. So if we get a left back, because we can't have, as much as I've said Matty Jacob wasn't as bad as some people think he was yesterday for me. We can't go into this remaining point in the season with Matty Jacob and Sean McLaughlin as our two left-back options. One of whom is a centre-back and the other of whom is not outstanding.
Do you just... they can both do a job. So one match you play Jacob and then immediately swap him for McLaughlin, just give them half the games and then they can do a job either side of that. I mean, that's an awful idea, but you could do it, I guess.
I think we're both wing backs and full backs are the issue, though, on both sides. We've got, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not just a case of signing a player for the right-hand side as well, because the problem is Coyle this season's form has been horrific. The full season he's not had one good game. When he came,
I dispute that.
Well, very few.
Very few.
I'd say pre.
If you're saying pre-season, they don't count, Joe.
No, I'm not saying pre-season. There was up to a point under Tim Walter where Louis Coyle was along with Ivo Panda was our best player. I'd say coming up to
carrier, wasn't he?
I'd say coming up to about Derby away, Portsmouth at home sort of area. Louis Coyle was fine. Like Plymouth at the start of the year, outstanding. But after Plymouth, you get Oxford, West Brom, Luton. And by Sheffield Wednesday, Louis Coyle looked broken. The man who everyone thought was unbreakable was broken by Tim Walter.
I don't think he should have come on. I don't think he should be played at all.
Yeah, I agree.
He just didn't look comfortable. If anything, his normal traits that he has that kind of infuriate me seem to be dialed up to 11. With his kind of passing and confidence of that. But you're 100% right with the left back situation. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to bring up Dramé actually before I go to left back. I think with Dramé, there's a player there, but it's his inconsistencies of every game. You don't know which one's going to turn up. You don't know if he's going to be the one that gets the ball, carries it, does an amazing cross and takes people on and does a little showboat back heel and sets up a counter attack. Or you're going to get the one that can't kick a ball for Toffee. It goes through his legs and it's a goal at an impossible angle, which normally would never be scored just because of something like that. You don't know which one's going to turn up with him. And it's his inconsistencies at the moment which are letting him down. Once he's overcome that, he's going to be fine. But where we are at as a club and as a fan base right now, I'm sorry, pal, we need you on all cylinders. And we can't afford these type of things at the moment. So it's why he's getting a bit of a bad rep, I guess, also. He doesn't seem to claim enough crosses exactly. And I think on the left side, like Joe, you've said it perfectly. Everyone was saying Wyatt were playing Jacobs, blah, 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 often and stuff like that. I mean, especially after the Sheffield United. I mean, he is an in and out player for me. He will always be an in and out player, I believe, Mike Jacobs, in his kind of for the next few years. Because though he's now getting experience in the Championship, and he has a bit anyway, because he's obviously played quite a few games now in the Championship, he's still in League One, you'd play him. But in Championship, he's not there yet. He's not up to that standard, and he is a substitute to come on.
And he's still not played very many games as well.
He's not played many games, no.
Yeah, he's 24, and he's played how many games in his professional career?
30.
And this is it. This is why I'm saying he's a League One player because of the age. 24 is not old, guys. I mean, God, look at us.
He's 24 in June, and as of.
It's not very young for a footballer compared to.
It's not very. Yeah, it's like
Barry's
just
21
up to your mid. You're not far from your middle of your career almost. You know, you're 25 to 27 is your middle of your. You know that.
As of now, Matty Jacob has played 23 times for Hull City. 13 games where he started, 10 where he's been brought on.
He's not even really played half a season in terms of starts. It's very difficult
since he's been at the club. And a lot of those were last season. as well.
Just looking at the games he's played here, it's mental. We thought pre-season that he would end up starting at left back because we didn't have any wingers. He only played once under Tim Walter.
Yeah, Tim didn't rate him at all, though, did he?
The span of games was Bristol City on the opening day in August, and then his next appearance came 4 months later, pretty much to the day, just over to the day at Coventry.
Yeah.
And at that point, 4 months without a game, it's going to impact you somewhat. Like we saw he had that little injury. When I spoke to Matty, he put that down to simply not being in the team much. And you get chucked back in, and all of a sudden your body's got to get back in that sort of match routine that you were in pre-season and up to that first game. And that's how inconsistencies in performances come when you don't play games for that long and you're coming back in, you're trying to ease your body back into it, your body's not used to it. And I think it can still be said that Tim Walter's legacy is having an impact on this side for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because the amount of players that we've still got here that played under Tim Walter is sizable. Yes, we've signed a lot of players this month, but the majority were still here under Tim. Double sessions, being in a poor environment, just racing to get out the door every day from the training ground, back in your car and back home. It takes its toll mentally, physically. And yes, Ruben's been in for nearly 2 months now, but that legacy of injury especially will still run thick.
Hey, well, it will go on for a while. The thing is, it's going to go on all season. It's the how do we overcome it situation. Like Nathaniel Astazali, how do we do that? But it's not us that can do it. It's the individual. I mean, Ruben's trying his hardest, though will still say I do feel Ruben got the squad wrong to start the game. I do feel it was a negative team that he picked. Especially with, like I said, the players that have come in who are an absolute attacking threat. And I think if we went out there with the all-out attack situation from the start, I think Stoke would have been shell-shocked, and we can easily manipulate the game anywhere we wanted to after that. Now, the one thing I will say, though, with respect to Stoke is with our chances, because we had, 22 chances, and I think, was it 13 on target along those lines? Which
but we had a lot.
I think that's like the stat, 22 on target, 13 on target, sorry, and 22 shots, which kind of goes to show how much of a great game their keeper is at Johansson.
He's a very good goalkeeper.
And he always has a good game against us anyway.
Why is he
Even
at
when
Stoke?
he conceded 4 for Rotherham last year, he still kept it down. He was the one Rotherham player, apart from Tom Eaves, because we had a laugh with him, that walked off that pitch getting any sort of plaudits from Hull City fans, because even though they lost 4-1, he kept that down in that second half consistently. And, well, yeah, Eaves, we were just having a laugh. So,
yeah.
And he said, well, when the fans were having a bit of a laugh with him, like asking him to give him a wave when a player was down injured, he did say that he would have done had they not been losing 4-1.
Yeah.
Just going back to what I was saying about the fixtures, that we've got that really, really tough run. Burnley, Norwich, Sunderland. Then after that,
but you can see us winning at Burnley or
6
Sunderland.
games that are winnable in succession. Cardiff, Plymouth, Bristol City away, so there's every chance with Hull City. Then Oxford at home, West Brom, who are doing quite well to be fair, Luton. Out of those 6 games,
draw with West Brom.
There are 4 winnable, should be winning games there. The caveat is Plymouth, Oxford, Luton are all at home.
Any other club would be delighted with that, but for us, I'm terrified because if we don't win, it's double bad, isn't it? Because they're the teams
We're at
around
home
you.
as well.
But if you just think if we beat, Norwich, because they're not very good away, I feel like maybe is that better? Norwich are going to try and play well. They're not going to be a passive team because they're a bit higher
And
up the
this time
table.
playing them, we do also have a midfield.
Yeah, and we don't.
I will say, last
Angus
time
Gunn,
at theirs, they owned us, Norwich. They
Norwich were
absolutely,
unreal.
they were the best, one of the best teams. I actually thought after that result and how they played, watching that game, I actually thought they were going to be playoffs top.
I watched
top
that and
halfway.
thought Norwich will go up.
They
Yeah.
might be. Might still.
Yeah.
They've
No,
won
they can
last
still
two.
do it. Yeah, they can still do it. You're right. But they played that well at home, and it was scary how good they were against us and how organised. Now, obviously, time tells, and we'll see when we play them at home. But I think that's the Tuesday night game, isn't it? But playing them at home, I just fear because we're at home, it'll be a worse result at our place than it was theirs.
Yeah, we've got Burnley on the Wednesday night and Norwich on the Saturday, 3:00.
Is it Norwich Saturday?
Yeah, the other way around, mate. But then after that run of games, we've still got Preston and Derby both at home, and then Pompey away on the last day. Those last three, especially that last two, could be season defining for all three teams. I think
clubs.
Derby now, they've had a nightmare of a January. They've loaned Sonny Bradley out, lost Curtis Nelson to injury, replaced both of them with someone who's worse than Sonny Bradley in Matt Clark, and lost Aaron Cashin. Derby look to be in free fall. There's
7 losses in a row.
7 in a row.
There's a bit of a sort of mutiny with Paul Warne among the fan base. That discontent's been there for a while. I think it's there in the squad as well, to be honest with you, but it doesn't look like Derby are going to make that change.
It's like a Walter situation, isn't it?
Well, I hope they don't sack him.
I think
we should have young English managers. They need to get a chance. Keep him in the job. Is he English? I don't know.
All right, Paul Merson.
I want us to stay up. Keep your garbage managers, please.
I think Plymouth are as good as down.
Well, see, they beat West Brom stupidly, didn't they? So I still think they don't have enough with Whittaker going. But,
I say they're as good as down. They're only 4 points behind us, but Derby in the bottom three. Luton, I think Luton will surely pick up.
You would expect them to pick something.
Surely.
Like
equally, I don't think their squad is as good as you would like any other relegated team from the Premier League because they haven't spent any. Well, they've spent money. I mean, not on huge players for me.
Luton's next game is Plymouth.
Yeah.
So
is it Luton
versus Plymouth?
Luton versus Plymouth. Yeah, at Luton.
0-0, please.
And then it's Watford, then Portsmouth. So
huge games.
Yeah, and then the rest of the games, to be fair, after that, they haven't really got the easiest of runs. I mean, in between. Well, if we go with us on the 29th, one side of that they've got Middlesbrough, and the other side of that they've got Leeds. So they've not got the best games. Yeah. But when we come to that game against Luton ourselves in March at the back end, we're going to be having this conversation of Luton is a must win. Well, they're all must wins, but Luton at that time frame will be
Luton, Derby, Pompey. Yeah. Luton, Derby, Pompey, Plymouth, arguably Oxford and Swansea as well. Are must wins. But
it's 16 cup finals, isn't it?
Well, and you just think
many of these games are at home for us, and that's the most frustrating thing because we should be good at home.
I have one bit of good news. We have 16 games left. We have 9 away and 7 at home. So praise be, we have 9 away matches.
9 wins. We've got 9 wins on the way because they're all at home.
We are the only
Swansea,
team.
Watford, West Brom, Cardiff, Sunderland, and Burnley. Bankers.
Win them all. Win them all.
Win them all. Win them all.
I would like
I missed
to.
Chef Wednesday out in that as well. Chef Wednesday.
Yeah, easy win. Easy.
What's an
Murder
interesting one is when we play Derby County, Luton played Derby County the week before. So
Ooh.
we've got that as well.
I'd like to talk about two transfer-related things. One, sort of going off what we were talking about with the selection. Is the Gustavo Puerta situation a repeat of the Lewis Potter and Henriksen situation where we won't play him because we'll spend money on him? Or is that just Sayers' selection and just felt like doing something different? Because
I think
we have the money to spend on Puerta, so I think
but do we? We've gone big January. Fee for Crooks, fee for Louis Barry on loan, fee for Matazzo, fee for Joseph. Have we all of a sudden realised that's probably not the smartest thing to do, to spend even more money? So we're going to wait it out a bit. He'll come back in the team towards the end of the season when he'll just miss out on hitting the obligation. And hopefully we've got some more funds in.
It depends, because I would say that if Crooks isn't starting perhaps and is playing Slater, the question is it worth risking spending the money on Puerta now to keep us in the league? Or if we don't play Puerta, could we go down? And then I think we're going to be in a worse situation, because I know there's no FFP in League One, but Birmingham hadn't spent any money for like 40 years or so. They were scum at the bottom of the Championship every year, staying up. So they had the money to spend on Stansford, whereas we don't have that buffer because we have spent so much. We've spent 20 million this season. When you go down
from the Championship into League One, you get an FFP break for a year, don't you? So Birmingham have used that to their advantage. And I'm not sure.
I know I say it every week, 20 million on Stansfield in League One, ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm not sure if we were to go down, we're in the same financial position that Birmingham were in to spend that much money, even though we'd have no FFP to contend with. Like the accounts last year say we're losing $500,000 a week. We've spent a lot of money in the summer. Still, Kamara, Balumi, Miller, Rachopi for $1 million, loan fees for Rushworth, etc. And we couldn't afford, if we went down, to spend the same way Birmingham have. So we'd have to keep a stable squad, possibly sacrifice an Alzate, and to bring in some more players. We definitely won't get Louis Barry back here.
No.
And
even though there's that discussion already about next season, but
if we were to go down, Villa would pull out. Villa would pull out because they want him in the Championship.
This is my opinion. Just play Lincoln, problem solved.
God.
That's what you were typing.
Yeah.
You had to show it via a comment on the screen. You couldn't have just said, "Where was Lincoln?"
Well, I imagine he's not fit, but 12 days, or was it 11 days time till Burnley? I'm sure he'll be involved in some capacity. He's basically the Brazilian twine. Yes, he was incredible.
Amrabat came on and gave it a right good go. The pace he was showing when he was chasing back at the end down the west hand side, that bloke did not look nearly 40.
Mind you, was it the pace, or is it just that he's so strong? It doesn't matter how slow he is. No one's taking the ball off him.
Looks very composed on the ball. It looks even when someone comes at him and starts nipping his heels, he's like looking down at him, going, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" So it was nice to see him when he came on. He's going to be a bit part player, but at the same time, it's someone that you can actually bring on as a bit part player and be like, "Yeah, he's going to do all right." You're not going to expect 90 minutes out of the guy ever, are you?
No.
So
if we're so screwed that we're playing Amrabat for 90 minutes, then I do pray for us.
Yeah.
Do we talk
10 injuries
deadline day then?
Well, we have one other thing. I know we've mentioned him, but Louis Barry, that is quite a good signing. Like, I know he played half an hour or 35 minutes, or however long it was, probably more like 40 minutes. But hopefully, having scored 16 goals this season for Stockport, he can be a goal scorer for us.
Yeah. That'll happen.
Yeah.
I've got faith in it.
if we'd won, we would be much more excited talking about him just there. But I can tell by the mood we're not excited to talk about. We could have signed
It's a
Haaland.
good
And
signing. It's a good
Yeah.
signing, 100%. On paper, it's a fantastic signing. He's got to make the step up to from League One to the Championship, which is a big gulf. I think he's a player more than capable of making that step up. And he had a shot at the end, didn't he? Cox has just commented it.
yeah.
The East Stand were celebrating like he'd just scored like a 40-yard screamer when he hit the side netting from 6 yards out.
I was in the East Stand and I thought he'd missed. I mean, everyone kept celebrating for like 2 or 3 seconds, so I joined in because I thought it had gone in, and then it hadn't. So I was right and wrong, which makes it worse. I didn't trust myself.
Seeing that, I thought, sort of glanced over to my right hand side and thought,
it was actually miles wide, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was quite far. I was on the west, and I could see that, and I was like, "What they're screaming for? Is that?"
I looked across
at one
and
point,
thought, well, pardon my French, but you're all fucking clowns. Look where the ball is. It's not in the net.
Joe, you can't say that. Think of the children.
I thought it was actually Stoke fans celebrating that we missed because it was that loud. It was that loud and that excited. I thought, God, Stoke, calm down. And I realised it was our lot. I was like, what are you doing?
It's like all you need to do is look at how the players have reacted and look where the ball is. But that celebration went on for a good 5-6 seconds.
It did.
Yeah. So it was nuts. It was nuts. But back to transfer market, guys. I mean, look, deadline day. Ajun.
Need a left back. We need a
right back. Need a striker. Need 4 more goalkeepers.
Do we need a striker?
Don't need Jayden Dance.
Do we need a midfielder?
No, not really.
Exactly. No. Look, left back.
Never thought I'd say this, but the striker that we've been linked with, no, prioritize something else for the love of God.
Especially on loan, because he can't play. If you'd play Barry and you'd play probably Lincoln even and Gelhardt over him, we've just spent money on Joseph, so we're not signing Jayden Dans. I don't see the point of that.
Yeah,
we'll be sat here in 24 hours and he'll be in the kit, won't he?
Well,
typical.
Yeah. Hull City's big signing. Right, what about left back? No. Your defense is fine. Just like
I think there'll be a left back and a surprise. I think we'll end up.
I'm getting a surprise.
I think we'll end up with a left back and a centre back because I think there might be some weight behind this Asante. From
not Thomas Asante, the other one.
The other Asante, whose first name I've forgotten. What's his name?
Let me have a look.
What's his name?
The thing
Tyrese Asante. So, and it might not necessarily end up being him, but someone of his profile who can play right back, centre back, left back.
Oh, Kenny, have him, get him. If that's the case, any money, but put the contract on the table. Let him write any numbers he wants. If we can get a defender that can play left back, centre back, right back, 10 million option to buy of 100, 10 million loan fee. Go for it because we need a defender. God, do we need a defender?
I mean, in all these cases, there's no smoke without fire. Whether it's agents trying to drum up interest or likelihood at this stage of the window coming from Sky, he will be one of the ones we've talked about. I do worry, however, that we've left it too late for a left back. We'll end up panicking, and
Murray Wallace from Millwall.
No, we'll end up with Brandon Williams on a free.
Oh God, please God, no! Look, I mean,
that's my worry because that lad is. Well, put it this way: he's not had a club for 9 months, so that should tell you all you need to know.
Yeah, I agree. Ant says worrying. Sayer seems content with the left back situation.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that interview.
Maybe he just doesn't want to say McLaughlin and Jacob, you're garbage, and I need to replace it. But equally, then you just say, oh, well, if we can get someone in, then yes, we will.
Well, look, if we get a centre back in, we know he's going to look at McLaughlin more on the left. We know that.
Perhaps, yeah.
So that's how it's going to go down. So we are looking with intent. I've just got this. I don't know. It's either going to go two ways, isn't it? We're going to have an Ajun Let's Go Crazy in a Miracle special. And somebody
we are
else.
100%. If Adjun gets his desk, well, if Adjun gets sat at that desk in the boardroom in the 8 o'clock meeting tomorrow morning,
he's not actually going to sit there, is he?
If Jared Dublin doesn't put him on a lead, for the want of a better phrase,
I know what he's going to do.
We are going to end up with 4 strikers, 6 wingers,
2 goalkeepers,
7 goalkeepers, and no left back.
Between 2 and 7 goalkeepers.
Yeah, between 2 and 7 goalkeepers. That's it. It's just going to be filled with goalkeepers. We don't need anybody else.
And then we'll forget that
it's
we've
going to be
not
everything
signed
or
off
nothing,
on Xavier Simon's departure because Adjun's busy doing all this stuff. And him and Brandon Fleming are just stuck here not playing.
I'll keep saying it. I understand it. It really doesn't make any sense from a business standpoint, but our transfer windows are entertaining. You're never bored, are you? And I feel like at a certain level, we support a football team to be entertained, right? It's an escape. And I would say escapism is not which Doncaster free agent are we signing. It's which random Turkish left back are we signing.
Who's played at Fenerbahce, who's got a family member that supports Fenerbahce.
We're going to hijack Fulham's deal for Zeki Celik because Adjun wants to.
Yeah, I'm just looking. How many left backs do Fenerbahce
actually have? That's going to have to be your go-to. Or which family member has someone who plays at left back who he knows for Fenerbahce? Say it.
Does Lincoln have a brother called like Newark or King
sisters, uncle?
Yes. So they've got Kostic on loan from Juventus. They've got
get him in.
Ooh.
I do look. I think we're gonna have a day, aren't we? It's tomorrow, isn't it? Jesus, no, I don't think it's fair tomorrow. God. So it's gotta be a day and a half.
They've only got 3.
They've only got 3.
We've only got 3, but
one is. You only need 2.
Oh no. They've got Kostic is on loan, and they've got Oosterwolde, who has done his ACL. Who's a left back. So actually, they've only got 2. And
We've signed him then. We've signed the ACL one, haven't we?
Of course. I apologise. I misspoke. I forgot the number 1 rule of Adjun signings. If they are injury prone, pay twice the money.
Yeah.
Yes,
coming in injured. Salarul Adam Hand, you're injured, mate. Don't care.
I would. That day, if we could roll back time and have Andy Dawson at left back.
Cynic wing back for the rest of the season when he's back.
No, Nathaniel, that would mean he's fit.
Look, he's on the pitch, isn't he? He's on the
apparently
grass.
He's on the pitch and already like, I'm all fit and healthy. I'm just gonna off to Turkey.
When I say he's on the grass,
just in time to get injured again, so he can't get a move, and he stays on whatever amount of money a week he's on here because the Turkish second tier cannot pay that money.
I don't know. That's the thing, though. Aren't all Turkish clubs ridiculously rich, but choose not to spend it on anyone half decent?
I maybe wouldn't say that. Well, outside of the big 3, possibly Kashim Pasha as well. Especially when you get into the second tier, they'll be broke.
Yeah, Turkish league is so stupid. I mean, we really do just need to do a separate episode of talking about the Turkish league. But Enshep, do we think Amir goes? If it was up to me, yes.
I think Amir and City both go, but not tomorrow. The Turkish window shuts on the 11th.
Yeah,
I think both of them are gone by that deadline.
Well, would we play Burstow over Amir? Would we play Palmer, Crooks, Lincoln, Gelhardt, etc.?
Yes.
All of them, yes. So
Malem, recall him.
Well, to be fair, Malem has more assists than Amir. So yes. Sort the midfield problem. Recall Amir, yeah.
Recall Amir, he's still here, mate.
I recall Amir. Malem. I got my rubbish attacking midfielders mixed up. Sorry.
We're just rambling at this point, aren't we?
No,
I think we should call it
and here's the comment. It's entertaining, but then you take I stepped back and realised it's not sustainable to sign 7 players every window. Obviously, I said that, but it's still fun. I'd still prefer this because, fortunately, though it does matter very much to the club, fortunately, I'm not the one who has to pay their wages. So,
well, you do with your merchandise purchases, your ticket sales, your street food. Oh, before we go, by the way, Nathaniel, you say what you want to say, and then can we finish on what I want to say? Because it is a positive to end the show on.
Well, I do pay for my own matchday tickets, but I've not given any merchandise money to them for 2 years now.
Oh, I'd give them it.
It's not really a boast, but yeah, go on.
So, my positive to end the episode. That chocolate brownie. Oh. My sweet Lord. Oh,
I had it yesterday with the brisket. I had the brisket and the brownie yesterday, and I can tell you now, boom, happy man, that was it. That's until kickoff anyway.
I've eaten terribly this last week. I've had like 3 takeaways, and I had 2 chocolate brownies at the football yesterday. I'm a pig at the minute.
It's lovely, mate. Cool. It was lovely. It's lush.
But for £6.25, I thought it'd be a lot more expensive than that. It's an upgrade on the crumble. 100 million %. It's an upgrade on the crumble.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought the top might be a little bit with the sort of biscuit sprinklings. I thought it might be a bit gravelly, but it wasn't. It was fine. It was lovely. Against Norwich, I will be having another 2.
I know people probably want to hear about this now, but considering we're not actually playing a match next week, but we should do one as it's halfway through the season, I think we need to keep some topics for next week when we haven't played a match. I know the club have put a statement out, but we're not going to talk about it. If you want to talk about it, jump ahead a week and maybe we'll talk about it next week. Because, but as there's no match, because we're not playing Burnley just yet and Cardiff got postponed. Indeed. Let's not do a 3-0 Will prediction. Let's predict what will happen on deadline day for Hull City tomorrow.
What will happen between now and when we next sit down and when we sit down for Tigers talk on Wednesday? What will happen?
Indeed, yes.
Yeah. Donald Trump blows up half the world.
We're throwing the net that wide, are we?
The full news then. All right, okay.
City don't sign a left back, but City do sign a left back. Adrian gets someone from Turkey and
Turkish left back. Oh, that would do me.
No, it's going to be a Turkish goalkeeper. Let's be fair.
Oh yes, sorry. Right-footed Turkish goalkeeper left back. Yeah.
He played there once when he was 13.
Obligation
this
to
left
buy.
Back at Brighton that we're in for apparently. Raul Cushworth.
Do you know what? I'm afraid. I'm just afraid.
See you on Wednesday, folks.
Don't joke about us signing a goalkeeper.
You'll see me on Wednesday, and you'll either see me with my hands in my face for the full hour.
You'll just be pointing your camera down, and you'll be sat curled up in a ball in the corner of your room on the floor,
like that. Arms crossed. Oh God! I used to love Hull City deadline days. I did at one stage. I used to love them. This season especially. No. I'm done in. I'm tired. Mail 'em or Slater.
It's not good.
Don't be silly now. Come on.
Slater.
Mail 'em top assists for 2024. Bless him.
Hey, what?
You've got to give him credit for that. It happened.
God. This is where we're going. The top assist. He didn't even hear. And he just, I don't know how. Top goal scorer, and he scores with his elbow and now out on loan. He's gone. He's gone.
We'll sign a player. But not a left back.
Let's talk about Chris leaving for the 15th time next week, shall we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And Cynic will get injured. I predict that.
Before he leaves.
Uriel Felly will sign for yet another Peruvian club on loan from a club he isn't owned by.
He will sign for Fenerbahce and they'll loan him back to us.
Oh no. And on that note, folks, I think we're gonna have to come back to you on Wednesday on Tiger Talk. I do, seriously, because I think we've lost you. I'm done.
Yeah, so thank you all for putting up with us.
I am done.
I guess we have cheered up a
Mike's
little
coming
bit.
off.
Yeah.
I'm done. Joe out.
All right. Thumbnails up. We'll see you all next week. Thank you very much for your time. Actually, no, I've got to put the outro on. So we'll see you all next week.